Key stakeholders in Nigeria's sugar industry have reaffirmed their commitment to the successful implementation of the National Sugar Masterplan (MSMP), which aims to transform Nigeria into a net exporter of sugar and related products while contributing meaningfully to national economic growth. Stakeholders including the National Sugar Development Council (NSDC), Nigeria Customs Service (NCS), National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC), BUA Group, Flour Mills of Nigeria PLC, and Abuja-based consulting firm Nina Georgia made a commitment at a one-day public hearing on a bill to amend the National Sugar Development Council Act held at the National Assembly. The proposed legislation is titled A Bill for an Act to Amend the National Sugar Development Council Act, Cap 78, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2024, to provide for the functions and powers of the Council and the payment of all monies received by the Council into the Federation account in accordance with Section 162 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, and for related matters. In his presentation, the Executive Secretary of the NSDC, Karmal Bakrin, emphasized the transformative goals of the Sugar Master Plan, chief among them the creation of 1,000 high-quality jobs, development of rural infrastructure, and savings of over $1 billion in foreign exchange annually. Barkin raised concerns over the recent directive mandating that 50% of the sugar levy be remitted to the Consolidated Revenue Fund (CRV), warning that such measures could undermine the sector's transformation goals.
The vision of the Nigerian Sugar Master Plan is clear. It is to, among other things, create 100,000 high-quality jobs, to drive the development of rural infrastructure, and to achieve savings of at least $1 billion annually in foreign exchange savings. To realize this, we require $4.5 billion in investments, which the National Sugar Development Council is assiduously pursuing the realization of. We understand that investor confidence is paramount. The feedback we have received from investors so far emphasizes the need for assurance, a disciplined, rule-based approach to investment that ensures transparency and accountability and gives investors the assurance that their investments will be safe and will realize returns.
Representing the Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, Iba Edward expressed the agency's support for the bill's intent to enhance the Council's regulatory capacity. However, he cautioned that some of the proposed provisions overlap with NAFDAC's core regulatory functions as outlined in Section 5 of the NAFDAC Act.
Our first observation is on paragraph 2, Section 3, subsection 1G, which empowers the National Sugar Development Council, the NSDC, to set benchmark and regulate sugar imports and exports based on local sugar production and consumption projection, and grant license for the establishment of new sugar industries, including refineries and sugarcane processing facilities, and set standards for the establishment of sugarcane facilities and refineries. Distinguished Chairman, sir, this function duplicates NAFDAC's core function of regulating and controlling the manufacture, importation, exportation, advertisement, distribution, sale and use of food and beverages in Nigeria, thereby creating a regulatory overlap in importation controls on these products, as it directly overlaps with our mandate, our statutory responsibility under the NAFDAC Act to regulate the importation of food products, including sugar, to ensure safety, quality, and standards. Our recommendation here, sir, is that the bill should clearly delineate NSDC's powers and functions from NAFDAC's statutory regulatory mandates, as NAFDAC retains regulatory oversight on any food import, including sugar, to prevent entry of substandard or harmful products into the Nigerian markets.
Also speaking, Assistant Controller General of Customs KC Egu affirmed the Nigeria Customs Service commitment to its revenue collection mandate under Nigeria's fiscal laws. He reiterated the agency's support for efforts to enhance transparency and efficiency in the sugar industry.
The service reiterates its unwavering commitment to implementing all trade laws and fiscal measures as approved and passed by the National Assembly. We remain fully prepared to support any amendment to the NSDC Act that aligns with national economic policies and sustainable industrial development. In conclusion, the service is respectfully urges that the proposed amendment to the Act should consider existing fiscal measures, operational realities of quota regimes, and the need for synergy between regulatory agencies and enforcement bodies to ensure policy coherence and effective implementation.
Representing Boa Group, former Minister Dr. Aliu Idi Hong expressed the company's firm commitment to the NSMP, noting Boa's substantial investment in the sector. Hong, however, urged policymakers to consider the economic impact of regulatory changes on both producers and consumers. On behalf of Flour Mills of Nigeria, Onome Okura, head of government and community relations, acknowledged the challenges in the sector but stressed the company's continued dedication. The consulting firm Nina Joja also made submissions at the hearing, raising concerns about the bill's provision on the utilization of the sugar levy, quota allocation, expanded regulatory rules, and enforcement mechanisms. The firm called for clarification of gray areas to ensure transparency and effectiveness. In his opening address, Chairman of the House Committee, Rep. Enitan Dolapo Badru, said the hearing was part of effort to develop inclusive legislation that will strengthen the NSDC's capacity to drive the NSMP.
In order to have an inclusive legislation, this gathering marks a significant step towards redefining our sugar industry by providing an appropriate legal framework that would shape regulatory authorities and ensure they are strategically positioned to effectively relate with the operations in the sector. The enactment of this legislation would no doubt enhance competitiveness and increasing the sector's contribution to Nigeria's economy. The purpose of this hearing is to elicit the views of all stakeholders in this industry in order to provide a more inclusive and comprehensive law that will enhance the Council's effectiveness in regulating and developing the sugar industry. As stakeholders, we recognize the value of your expertise, concerns, and suggestions. Your contributions will no doubt shape the future of our sugar industry. As we embark on this critical exercise, I urge all the stakeholders to engage in a constructive dialogue, sharing knowledge, ideas, and experiences in order to create a robust, sustainable, and competitive sugar industry that benefits the Nigerian economy and improves the livelihood of our people.
In his remarks, Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment Dr. John Owan Eno emphasized sugar's potential in achieving President Bola Tinubu's $1 trillion economic vision. The minister noted that while the sugar industry has benefited from over $2 billion incentives under the first and second phases of the Masterplan, its contribution to the economy remains underwhelming, estimated at $30 billion.
As we start the second implementation of the National Sugar Development Master Plan, an amendment of this nature ordinarily is targeted at strengthening the law. The National Sugar Development Council is the agency in the ministry that implements and operates the law and the activities within the sector. Therefore, an amendment of this nature is intended to tighten those loose ends, to see how we don't make another journey and regret that journey. If you look at what the country spends in terms of imports of sugar and related products, it's huge. So this amendment, as long as it is geared towards strengthening the hand of the National Sugar Development Council, and especially because we are competing with countries like Brazil that have been on this sugar production and all for upwards of 500 years. And because we just don't want to produce sugar, we want to do that competitively. So let me enjoin, the chairman and members of this committee that at the ministry we take this amendment seriously, and we are determined to work together to see how the law that comes out of this amendment
can strengthen the hand of the ministry that reports directly to Mr. President and the council to give us, a product at the end of the day that we cannot be repeating the experience that has occurred after the first 10 years.
Baba Sunday, Eagles FM News.